I think we should start by recognizing your milestone and 50 years old. How you feeling? How you feel about that?
It's not the age. The age is fine. I've got no kind of like obsession with the age at all, but I feel different. Something,
You legitimately feel different. Like you turn 50 and you're like, I feel different now.
no, it's not as simple as that. I just feel like I just feel quieter than I've ever been, if that makes any sense. I just feel more reflective. Like I'm more of a
So the
barky kind of,
occasion made you do that, is that what you're saying? The occasion of turning 50 has
yeah,
conjured this,
yeah,
these. Okay, interesting.
unexpected, completely
Hmm.
unexpected. I would say it's happened in the last week. And like I said, I've said on the podcast before, I've got no problem turning 50 and 60 and 70 and beyond. It's going to happen. So you might as well make your peace with it early, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't that,
So,
but something is different. And I do want to explore that more with my therapist because I really do feel a shift in, I don't know, it could just be me just processing the fact that, fuck, I'm 50,
hmm.
or something neurologically could have happened. I just feel so much more reflective than I've ever been. I think I've, generally speaking, I think I've been a very reactive personality type.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't think that will entirely change. I think there will always be that reactive part of my personality type. But I don't know. I just feel a little bit more just observant, maybe reflective, observant, just instead of being like right in the center going, bah, 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 shooting off all my stuff. I just a little bit like, let's just see what so and so has to say, or let me just take a step back and let someone else be the Yappatron, as my son would call it. The Yappatron.
Yappatron.
Yeah.
Interesting
Calls me the
saying.
Yappatron. Or anyone that's talking too much, he calls a Yappatron or Yappaholic, or
I like Yapaholic. That's good.
it's good, right? I don't know.
Hmm.
I just feel like I've lost a bit of that. I don't know. Watch this
Your
space.
Yappability.
Yeah. So one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to be like, oh, fuck, thank God, I've been waiting 25 years for that. Or
Hmm.
you're going to be like, nah, I didn't sign up for a reflective observant.
Oh, look, I get it. Obviously, I
Yeah,
remember even when you turned 40, I remember that feeling as well
you do.
in that stage. Yeah, oh, 40, that's a lot different to your 30s. And it wasn't until I turned 41 I was like, oh yeah, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah,
Like
like
I
I'm in
think
my 50s now.
and then it's just like, oh, there's a there's almost like a recognition of a weird power attached to the age, like that wisdom, and you're someone in your 40s now, and now you're someone in your 50s. Like that's a there is a natural, I believe there should be like a natural respect attached to certain ages. Like as someone can say, it's like you don't respect someone just generally because they're older, but I think there is a just in lots of cultures where someone's of a certain age, I would
Certainly
well and
ours.
truly go for the advice of someone who's 50 than someone who's 21 years old. It's the reality.
Yeah.
There's life experience there. I've been an adult for 32 years.
It's not like a condescending thing.
No.
It's not that. It's not like I'm 50 and all of a sudden I'm Yoda. No, it's not that. It's just I don't know if it's just a realization, oh shit, yeah, I'm 50 and I'm just trying to process that or if there's something a little bit more valuable that's happening there. It feels like a refinement. I don't know, that sounds a bit wanky, but just like a little bit better judgment about my thought processes, the way I conduct myself, choices that I make. Choices that I make sounds really broad. It just, I don't know, there's something feels growth. I don't know. Or is it just aligned with a really weird time?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the world is very bizarre at the moment. Like it's such a, I don't know. I think you hit, I don't know if that was last chat that we had or the one before, but I think you nailed it with the whole chat of the internet and its implications on the world and society and cultures and things like that. Like there's many good that's come from it, many freedoms, many technologies, but when you look at it from a perspective of pros and cons, I'm not quite sure which one's winning right now. Has it been better for society or has it been worse? It's definitely been better for people building their wealth. I could tell you that now.
Yeah.
Like lots of wealth has been built from the age of the internet, and lots of people have lost lots of
entrepreneurial opportunities.
yeah, and lots of people have lost wealth because of the internet. It's been replaced because of the internet. Some people may say that's because people failed to adapt. Great example of that would be our good friends at Blockbuster. That was like, we can fight this. Yeah, we can fight this. No worries. Imagine if they had have used their brand, Blockbuster, and turned it into a Netflix.
Oh,
Who's the
maybe
guy in
they
that
did.
boardroom? Who's that guy in that boardroom who was like, this Netflix stuff, nothing to worry about? But do you remember?
We're good.
Hang on. Do you remember how it first started though? Netflix?
No.
It wasn't streaming. It was Netflix started as a Blockbuster online. Deliver the DVD to your home and you would send it back. Yeah. That's how Netflix started.
Still that format with some streaming. Like I know Prime Video does that. Like there is something, I hate this about Prime. Like you pay your subscription, but there's only a certain amount of shows you can get. And then the other ones.
The magical yellow lock on the Prime titles. It's like
What
the
am I
whole
paying
window
for?
is covered in yellow locks. There's nothing I can watch it for free.
So
Oh, $5 buys me a menu. Oh, nice one.
yeah, so, I don't know.
But yeah, the OG Netflix was like a DV delivery service to your home. So I'm not buying this. I just want it for a week. So I'm going to pay $10, not $25. And now we've moved to a world where ownership has absolutely disappeared. Even gaming. Did you see that was that a couple weeks ago where even Sony announced PlayStation where there will be no physical gaming discs anymore as well. It's all going to be online. All Sony games are just going to be digital. Yeah. Imagine EB Games. They'd be like, there goes our business model.
I like EB Games. They got great t-shirts.
Oh, they do
Great.
actually. I saw this banging, I think it was like a Minecraft basketball jersey. I was like, I'd wear that.
Yeah. I bought the boys heaps of clothes from EB, and can I say, great quality as well. Well done, EB Games. Really good quality clothes. But I think
So yeah,
that
50.
whole like $25 for a film that you can get on streaming. I think COVID unraveled a real untapped market, right?
Man, I've been through it.
Because they were like, okay, everyone's isolated, but people still want to watch me. People like you and I still want to keep abreast of what's new and what's going on with that. $25, a family would go, we'll pay that because if we went to the movies, we'd pay $100. Then when COVID passed,
was like-
everyone's like, actually, do I
I'm
need
like,
to?
I'm legit that person who looks at those things like, who is renting that for $27?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Why?
who's ordering a coffee on Uber Eats?
I know people
Do
that
it.
does my head in.
Pete,
Yeah, people do.
I was speaking to someone the other day, and she said that there's someone that she works with that orders like a mineral water and a bag of lollies.
For Uber Eats,
Yeah.
get off your fucking ass and drive to the servo. The fuck? Are you
People
serious?
do it. Jason,
Oh,
Pete, do
that's
it.
gross. That actually offends me.
Yeah, but whether it offends you or not, what I'm saying is there's a market for it. There are people that'll go, I feel like a Sunday from Macca's, I'm not going to even go, I'm not even doing drive-through. I'm doing Uber Eats. But did I tell you, I think I said it on a different podcast, there was a time where Matt was away and I was like, all right, guys, we're going to get Uber Eats Macca's. Like it's big day at the Olga house. We're getting Uber. I didn't know that. I thought it was like, you order 5 pizzas, that's your delivery charge, that's it. No, the Uber Eats is like there's a charge per item.
Mm.
So if you've got,
And a delivery fee on top of that.
yes,
Yeah.
that was the last time we ever did Uber Eats, I can tell you.
Uber taxi, you're like, I'm jumping in the car and going to drive-through.
100%.
But if you really sit back and you think about it, is like here it may have cost you $8 extra or whatever it was over the top.
No, it added up to about $27.
Extra?
Yep.
Jesus
This is
Christ,
why
what
I'm
are you ordering?
outraged. There's 4 of us. So if you're going to get like, okay, a Big Mac meal and someone else gets a sundae and
Yeah.
then someone else gets a coffee and
How far's the Macca's from your house?
I will also add, I was very sick this one week. I was
Yeah, but
really,
how far is Macca's from your house?
10 minutes.
Yeah, I'd drive for $27.
Yeah, but you're strong. Yeah, but I didn't know it was going to be $27.
I'm not no, look, how about wait a second. I'm not judging you for that. I'm just saying I'd be like, oh yeah, take it that time. But then after I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a lot of money.
Never again.
But
I have never done it again.
Can we just circle back to are you saying you know someone who knows someone
I know someone who works with someone
who frequently mineral water and a bag of lollies? That's like a standard order.
Uber Eats.
I'd like to interrogate the combination as well.
It's not even the decadence of the order. It's like, okay, you need to walk me through the mineral water and the lollies. Like, no.
The combination makes no sense at all. Oh, I'm trying to be good here with my mineral water, bag of lollies. The fuck?
We need to
No sense at all.
delivery, don't we? If it was just the water,
Get a drink with some sugar in there or something. Like that makes no sense.
you need to justify the order. That's what that is.
Maybe she makes a milkshake in her own mouth or something. I don't know.
Listen, it's a whole new way of eating and ordering and consuming.
I'm even one of those people who I legit you hear a lot of people complain about cost of living and stuff like that. I'm a natural tight ass. I have no problem with being as frugal as fuck. When we go out and have a good time, we'll have a good time. Like the other night, went to a good restaurant, we'd let it out. But I just don't get people who just nonchalantly buy 2 coffees a day. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I'm like, it's like $13 a day. And they the instant stuff's just not as good. And you're like, mate, the Nespresso black is not, it's not as good as a long black from the air, but boy, it's not bad. It's like, cost me nothing, worth paying for it, boom, and I'm not spending $6, and it's decent.
I'm in full
it's not the
agreement.
greatest,
So the way that I like my coffee, I'm looking at anywhere between $6 and $7. Now, is it better than the coffee we have at home? Oh, actually, Matt makes a cracker coffee.
I love,
But there's that.
but let me say this,
There's no coffee out me. The only time I would pay for a coffee, say, one day in the universe, one day in the future, you and I will actually be in the same room together again, right?
we'll get a coffee. Let's go and get a coffee just for irony's sake.
Yeah, sure. I would get a coffee in that instance. Or if I was meeting a friend.
For an occasion.
Like
yeah.
sure.
Me and cafe even here. I actually, me and Annie go and get a good coffee now and then. I actually enjoy that. We had a great one the other day. It was like beautiful location. We'd never been there. It was a 20-minute drive. We went specifically for a drive to this cafe, and it was fucking amazing. And the coffee was great as well. Perfect.
I'm for that. But I used to be someone who would buy a coffee every day for years. I would buy a coffee every day for years. No, that's when it was not really terrible. Now that we're heading towards the $7 mark, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not participating in this. This is, but I can see how people would easily get sucked into that because it's not like that one-off spend of $7. If you're just looking at it as, oh, I'm just going to grab a coffee and it's $7, right? You're not really thinking through. Matt's the one that's made me this. So it's like, oh, $7 a day, mate. You times that. 7 times that.
Yeah, I do the maths every time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like $1,500 a year. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And if people spend your money the way that you're going to spend your money, but then please don't complain about the cost of living.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to spend $1,500, $1,500 on coffee.
There's small choices. Like I legit like this, like even this whole world of environmentalism and stuff like that. I'm not one of these. I will say it straight up, and I am going to be as loud as possible about it from now on. I just don't care anymore. I don't consider myself at all whatsoever in the climate alarmist camp. I believe we should be doing what we can to do our best part for the environment. I see fucking videos of what's happening in places like India and Pakistan and the fucking filth and garbage over there. Yeah, and we as a country are still sending our coal and shit over there and pretending whatever we do here is going to make a difference. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Like the intellectual misunderstanding of like, we can't just do stuff in our own country and it's going to miraculously change the rest of the world. It's virtue signaling at its finest. But what I will say is that I still take individual responsibility. I am someone who still will be like, no, do I need... The same people who talk about we need to take action are some of the biggest consumers of shit in the world, right? They'll buy new cars, get the latest smartphones, all this shit that you don't need. And it's like, hang on, I'm so good with my 2005 Toyota Corolla and 2000 Toyota Kluger, and I will drive those things until they fucking die.
Same.
My TV, all my technology in my house is so old, I hardly buy any clothes. I'm not trying to say this to be like, oh, look at me. It's just like, what I'm saying is we can make active choices that are real choices, actual action, yet people don't want to take action. What they want to do is have things that are going to make it easier to still be the consumer and still do all the things that they want without the guilt.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I feel when you're, because I'm the same, right? I'm going to drive this Kluger until it dies, which it won't because it's a Toyota, right? But because I'm like, we are.
I should get a Toyota t-shirt. I should get a Toyota t-shirt, actually. I should.
When it, like, how long have we both just been flying the Toyota flag?
And now I actually have a massive love for Japan. It makes even more sense as well, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There you go. Jason and I have had Toyotas for, decades. And we stand by our cars because they don't.
Best thing I've ever bought. My
Right.
Toyota Klinger is
Ever.
legit the best thing I've ever bought by a mile.
Best thing ever, right? But I am like you. I am like, I'm not just going to buy a new car because I feel like whatever. And if someone does, that's their business. I'm just talking about what I'm trying to say.
But it doesn't
is,
have Bluetooth
feel
and
like-
rear side collision and safety, and it's like people just buy these buzz shit, and I'm like,
we don't care. But I feel like you and I, our attitude towards our belongings is got actually nothing to do with the environment. I think it's got to do with the appreciation of our belongings. That's not to say we don't care about the environment, but I just say there was no talk of the environment at all. I feel like we would still have that appreciation for the things that we own.
Yeah, I'm both. That's what I'm saying. I have the appreciation
so am
for the
I.
things that I own, plus I care deeply for the environment, but not to a
Same.
point where I'm like, why are we doing this? None of this makes sense to me. The climate action stuff is what I'm talking about.
You're talking about the extremists.
I think the extreme view is pretty common nowadays, and they don't think they're extreme as well. That's the scary part. And they'll think I'm some climate denier as well, just for having this nuanced approach to thinking about how we should be.
You're not alone in that thinking.
But that's the part, like a lot of people don't
boy.
talk about it, which is also bizarre. Is like I'm pretty happy to talk about what I think we should be. Why, when it comes to this stuff, is like the logical part in me, because like I said, is like my brain doesn't work like most people. I'm starting to realize that a lot now. Like it's got this really rational weigh up the pros and cons, try and understand all the things, understand the gray areas. Nothing is just this or that. It's a lot of things. And the world works in trade-offs. And that's pretty much the way the world works. And no one thinks like that. I saw this great exercise today in language. And I was like, man, that is so true. Just how it was a great example of just looking at society. And it was this picture of there's dots on this page. This Instagrammer, I really love the way he thinks. He's a Japanese guy, I think, actually. And there was like majority, like I think there was like 13 dots on there, and all the dots were red except for the blue one. And the guy was saying like the statement is most of the dots on this page are red. Yet you'll get someone go, no, there's a blue one on there. The sentence itself already has the allowance for the blue one on there, yet they have to point it out. They're not saying it only has red ones. It says most of the dots on this page are red. Not all of them, but still someone will be like, no, there's a blue one on there.
Yeah.
Because their understanding of language and nuance is terrible. And I was like, oh, that's a great example of it. You know, how that's fascinating because... And it happens in all arguments now. If you say something like, oh, but I know somebody who's, yeah, they're the outlier. Like they're the exception. Like people try and argue points based on, not on fact, but by the random outliers, the random things that happen. That's not the presupposition of what someone's trying to argue. You can't argue a point based on the outlier, basically, is the way I like to put it. And and understanding nuance, the gray areas, is what a lot of people don't really do well. And I find it disturbing, actually.
I think, and I'm really happy to fact check this for our next podcast, and I'm really happy to be called out if what I'm about to say is incorrect. But my understanding of that, there's all these red dots and there's that one blue dot, and the majority of people will say or will focus on the blue dot. And it is my understanding that is a neurological wiring.
We've spoken about this.
To predict threat, right? So if you apply that philosophy, I guess, or what would you call it? That principle to what you're saying is like most people, they don't look for the nuances. They're just like that and then that's it. Maybe it's because we're all wired to scan for threat. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that's right.
No, no, so less to scan the threat, but to really identify differences. I think that's the thing. The great example
Oh,
is
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So we're
like
saying
in
this.
an, I think we spoke about last time where it's like you're in a pretty secluded, random African country,
Yeah.
like actual African with black people there. And if a random white person walks down the street, the black people will look at them,
Yeah.
not because it's, oh, that is a bad one. It's just like something they're not used to seeing. So their
Yes.
eyes will focus on it and look at it. And it's not a thing out of racism, race, or anything.
No.
It's just something out of the norm that they're normally used to seeing. And I feel like this is actually getting to a great segue to what we were wanting
Yes.
to talk
It
about
really
today.
is. It really is. It's perfect, actually. But I think it also needs to be said, just if what I'm thinking is correct, using those
Yeah.
dots, the red dots and the blue dot as an example, when I'm saying the brain interprets it as threat, I do exactly what you're saying is I don't want our listeners to hear that I'm trying to say that a white person walking down the street in a black neighborhood is perceived a threat. No, I'm not saying that. It's the nervous system perceives something as different, and different alerts to threat. That's a wiring thing. We now have the consciousness and the intelligence in 2026 to go, yes, I notice whatever it is, whether it's a white person walking down the street, whether it's a blue dot, we have the consciousness and the intelligence to say it's different, but it's not scary. But the nervous system doesn't have that intelligence. The nervous system
I
just
just
goes,
I just
then
want to
it's,
clarify and agree and give you an example. But what I was talking about in that red and blue dot example was more about people's understanding of language rather than the
yeah, yeah.
identification.
And I
So
did take it in a
that
different
yeah,
direction. I did take it in a
yeah.
different direction, but I think maybe not particularly, or maybe it's been an image of white space and then a black dot. So the
And a great
majority is white
example,
space, right?
a simple analogy that demonstrated exactly what you're talking about is a young woman walking down the street at night by herself, and she sees a group of men walking down the other side of the street. What you're saying is in that perception and feeling thing is in modern day society, given what we're told, that woman would get a slight feeling of anxiety because she's
I
by
would.
herself and there's a
Yeah.
group of men. These
Yeah.
group of men might be the loveliest human
Oh,
beings in the
yeah.
world. But the
100%.
natural perception and feeling that woman will get is probably that most likely, right? So
I would.
that's just a great example of
Yeah.
what you're explaining. And that had nothing to do with color, it was just a gender thing. And that's
Yeah.
fine. I think that's exactly an acceptable thing for someone to feel.
Yeah.
And she might be quietly, pleasantly surprised that those boys would be like, hey, how are you? Hope you're having a great night. And
Have a
then it's
good
like,
night.
oh,
Yes.
so, but
But
that's, I
my
totally agree.
initial reaction, feeling outnumbered, especially by a different gender, I would be like, I would.
Mm, mm.
That's why I don't go out at night.
You don't
So
go out at night. No, you don't go out at night. Honestly, you don't go out at night because
I'm
you
old.
can't be bothered.
That is the true reason.
But it's the true reason. So yeah, I obviously wanted to talk about something very interesting and very topical at the moment.
And you're
The
quite passionate about this at the moment, aren't you?
yeah, because I'm sick of people portraying Australia as a place that's racist. It doesn't make any sense in my head. Legit, I'm just like, I don't get it. If it was
I
so
don't get it
racist, why
either.
would so many people of color want to come here? That doesn't make
Yeah.
sense at all.
Yeah.
Yes, there are
We-
miscreants out
we
there
both
that are.
married- Why would we both be married to Caucasians?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is just like you can again, it's all about that outlier perspective, right? Like most people are genuinely just nice, genuine people.
Definitely.
But
That's my
yes,
experience.
randomly you will get one shit person who might be bigoted or something like that. But like what I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, Australia is a very accepting, very
Oh,
very open culture. And I think about like even when my dad specifically came here, which came in the 60s, which is the thing that I wanted to point out is, and where this discussion is going, is that Australia policy. And I find that fascinating,
Yeah.
given that it's such a topical discussion at the moment. Again, I hate to be the person bringing up Pauline Hanson again after our discussion last week, but like there was again an example of Pauline Hanson talking about the White Australia policy. And my observation is that she talked about that it ended and that Australia changed after that point. To me, that wasn't someone advocating that they wanted White Australia policy back. It's an odd observation. That changed, and so did Australia at the same time. Cool. But what I wanted to actually understand a little bit more is when people use the term White Australia policy, it is a very deep and nuanced thing. So, like, my dad, who is a brown man, came to Australia during the White Australia. I don't know when your parents got here. It may have been ended by then.
70s,
In
yeah.
the 70s. Yeah, I think officially the immigration program, which is what it was at the time, the rules of immigration, was still pretty much a European-centric based immigration program. So even though he came from a brown country, or island in this case, which is a country, Mauritius, he got in because he had a brown he had a brown passport. He had a British passport, I should say. He had a
Yeah,
British passport,
right.
which was good. It obviously helped him get in. But again, it was less about his race and more about where his passport, his cultural background. And it's funny, I think about it a lot, and I'm like, independently of, I'm not going to deny that there was any clear want of the Australians from, I think it was like 1905 when this Immigration Act started, that they wanted to preserve some level of whiteness in Australia. Whatever you make of that, if you want to call it racist, I don't necessarily imply today's standards of morality back to 120, 130 years ago. That doesn't make sense to me. It was a different time, different things. And at the end of the day, a country is more than able to choose however it wants to choose the people it wants to come to this country.
Yeah.
Who's got a problem with that? I think the examples I give is Japan. I just went to Japan. I didn't go to Japan and go, whoa, this is feeling awfully Japanesey. I was like, this is actually cool.
This is
I loved that it felt like Japan. There was Japanese people everywhere, Japanese food. No one spoke fucking English. It was amazing. It was a cultural immersion.
A preserved culture.
It was awesome. Like
Yeah.
people don't go to Nigeria. They don't go to India and be like, oh, I think they're lacking some whiteness over here. It's just bizarre. Like, why do we judge Western nations very different to these nations? I don't get it.
I'm going to go out on a limb. No fact checks here, but I think it's a guilt. I think there is a misplaced
colonialism
guilt
kind of thing.
that I feel Caucasian people need to take off themselves because it wasn't
like
them
a
doing
white
it.
guilt.
White guilt, I think,
Mm.
because I'm wondering if I was going to say the majority, but like you've outlined so many times, the whites are actually the minority worldwide.
Yeah. Yes, the whites are the minority worldwide. Yes, correct.
For the sake of the argument, I do feel for the majority at the moment because it's like whatever you do, whatever you say, it's wrong. Someone's going to say it's wrong. Like, you should have done this. It should have been more of this. It should have been less of that, whatever. The rules keep changing every day. People are, when I say the people that are getting more and more sensitive, I feel like maybe have got a little bit more time on their hands than most. Because
it's got a lot to do with the book that I wrote. basically
Yeah.
about cop thinking. Like they haven't got religion, they haven't got. I had this other theory which I'd love to talk to you about
Yeah.
as well. So it was from Heather, who is her name? The Dark Horse podcast, great podcast actually. And she was talking about how in the West, I thought it was a fascinating perspective, how in the West, how most women now are delaying motherhood and some are technically missing out on that opportunity. I think about actually the amount of friends that I have who are now in their 40s and don't have
Mm.
kids. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's actually a majority of them, weirdly.
It's a
Not
lot.
weirdly for them, I don't say that, but like as a social norm, I don't say that derogatory at all, each to their own and whatever. But what her theory was is that we talk about the strength of human innate feelings and all the things that make us up as an individual. The whole part of being a mother and nurturing and all these things is inherent part of technically those feelings of being a woman. It's been there for millions of years. It doesn't just magically disappear.
For me, it
So
is. Yeah.
what the theory is, with the absence of children, they then, I wish I had this notion before I wrote my book actually, but it's another fascinating angle on it is what they're doing is, so for example, it
Oh,
might be the cause of like immigrants or something like that. They're
yeah.
finding another group or something
Wow.
to add that
It's like a
nurturing and
pseudo
that.
child.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's fascinating. I don't know if it's proven, but like
Wow.
the hypothesis is
Ooh.
interesting, right?
Whoa.
I thought it was fascinating.
That is an interesting position. Agree with
Mm.
it or not, I find that really interesting because there are definitely issues in society that we need to make noise about, that it's not okay that we stand with
Yeah.
anymore.
Where there
But
is
there,
injustice, let's call that
oh,
shit out. I've got
we've
no
got
problem
no,
with that. I'm not one of those people like we've said, because you know what? Because if we don't call out the real injustice, we minimize the actual real injustice by using these buzzwords and all this other
yeah,
shit for things that aren't really there. It using the term racism, misogyny, and all these things in moments of is it? Or are we just
yeah,
when real racism and real misogyny happens, if it's someone
yeah,
that you disagree with, that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
actually make them you disagree with me racist. It's
That
basically a
that
fallback position now.
that's not where my head goes. If someone
Mm,
is being cruel to me, my head
mm.
doesn't necessarily go, you're doing that to me because I'm a woman of color. You're doing that to me because I'm a woman. Those things don't actually go through my head.
Mm,
I actually feel insulted as a human being.
yeah.
As a human being who I feel treats people well, when someone is
Yes.
treating
You're the
me
best.
or someone else that I care and love for in a manner that's unfair or cruel or that causes them harm, I don't sit there and go, you're doing that because that person's whatever. And sometimes it is, but I feel like it's a human issue. It's a
Mm,
human issue. It's not
yeah.
like, let's just get past. I agree with what you're saying. It's not perfect. Australia's not perfect, but it's pretty bloody good. If it wasn't, people wouldn't be coming in droves. Let's be
Make it make
honest.
sense. Make it make sense.
We can sit here and we can bitch about the price of coffee and we can bitch about our neighbour who's looking over it because it's bin day yesterday and I forgot to take my bin in. And sure, we can do that into the house. But I feel safe in Australia.
Mm,
I feel, on the whole, respected by a very high percentage of society and the community. The
yeah. I don't
people,
even feel like I see. I don't. I feel like the whole don't see color thing is a real thing in Australia. And I'm more
I think
cautious of
Australia does it really well.
I'm actually more cautious of the people who point it out.
I'm like, why does it insult you more than it insults me? Because I'm
Yeah.
good.
Uh, don't
Can
talk
you
to me
not be
about
pissed off
the
on my behalf? Please.
how
Because that
condescending is that shit.
insinuates that I can't advocate for myself.
Your honor to me. Yeah, it's what's that? That's so.
I
Ah,
was
yes, I love it. This noted as the soft bigotry of low expectations.
soft bigotry. You're going to have to unpack that for me. Soft, what's that?
So they don't necessarily think they're being bigoted, but because they feel like they need to be the person who is offended for you, or that you're a person of color, you can't help yourself, that they're the
Yeah,
ones who need to feel offended for you or stick up for you or whatever it is. It's just like,
please don't.
dude, I'm fine. I have
I'm
my own
good.
abilities.
I'm
And you
really,
know what?
really.
It rarely happens, if ever.
Have you not met me? I'm quite the mouthy bitch. I'm okay, right? Conversation I was having with my son. He plays soccer, and there was a racist slur on the field last Sunday. And this is a mate of his who is white, and he's used the N word. And my son was not happy, and he's still not happy, and he's still trying to process that. And I'm not going to tell him not to, because as he pointed out, he's a kid who unfortunately has been labelled a troublesome kid his whole life, and people have had no problem calling him out for the most minute things. So if he's going to have a little bit of an irritation about something, I'm not going to intervene. That's his boundary. He feels that boundary's been crossed, and that's okay. But he said to me today, he goes, "Come on, mum, wouldn't it bother you if someone called you the N word?" And I'm like, "I'm not projecting this onto you, son, but honestly, no." Because if someone was to say that to me, I would actually think their ignorance is hilarious. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that everyone should take on that position. If that's something that offends you, by all means, it's a very personal thing. Boundaries are different for other people. But for me personally, I would, if someone was to say that to me, or like instead of just saying, "You're stupid," and have to, that I'm a black bitch, I'd be like, "You're hilarious, actually. Is that all you've got?
And
Is
also,
that
you're
all?"
giving them the power. Like, why would you give them the power? Like, that's it.
I genuinely, like, theoretically, yep, I agree with you. But it's all I said to him. I said, they actually can't offend me. You can't offend me by calling me that. Because to me, you calling me that, you look like a douche.
And
So
that's
how,
and agreed. And this is where this whole quelling of derogatory words and racist words, I think, is stupid. It's like, no, let them out there. Because you know why? Because how are we supposed to spot these fucking morons out there? I think
yeah,
it's a great, oh, God, I wish I could use these words. But it's
yeah.
a great detector to show the ignorant bigots out there. Let's not try and soften society to not ever use these words. In fact, let them. Let them. Because you know
Mm.
what? The crowd will speak, and the crowd will demoralize
Oh,
these
yeah.
people to a point of oblivion. Our society would not put up with it. This is why policing words is such a bizarre thing. And why shouldn't we allow people to? We should. I'm a big believer. We should allow to say people to say horrible things. I'm not saying they should say them. There's a very different distinction there, and many people don't understand that distinction. Is allowing
Okay.
people that it shouldn't be illegal to say something versus should you say is a
Oh,
very different proposition. Right? I'm not saying you should be able to say the N word and it's okay. That's what I believe. It's like no, it shouldn't be illegal to say it because I want to find out the people who would want to use it.
yeah.
And then they should be, and then the crowd or the market, if we're talking in economic terms, will react to that, right? Most people
Mm,
were like, I don't want to associate with some racist asshole. isn't
no,
that,
no.
isn't that's what happens now. And that's where true cancellation should happen,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? Getting cancelled for stupid things is the stupid, but where there's true outright racism, misogyny, criminal behavior, cancelled. I couldn't care less.
Well, yeah,
When people are getting
there's
cancelled
no
for
question.
ambiguous random shit, that's stupid.
But this is, I think, what we're trying to
And
say in this
intent.
segment. Yeah,
Hang on.
but I think
Just
what we're trying to.
let me add another point. Sorry. And talking about the whole people of how I really think I see, I don't see color, or the whole idea of seeing color. It's not something that you really feel happens in Australia. The only version of it that you see in Australia legitimately, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to get into this now, but Australia versus Indigenous people. That's probably the only distinction I see within Australia that's clearly pointed out. But one thing I was going to add on top of that as well is there's this. I heard this comedian the other day, Adam Carolla. He's hilarious, but he's a comedian, and in comedy, people punch on stereotypes, which some people would say is racist or whatever it is. And he said, and his thing was like, the true racist wouldn't come out and say the things that they really mean. The comedian is saying it because it's to make that cultural observation, and people see that and they laugh. Just in life,
Yeah,
the person who does probably make the out of the uncouth racist joke, which isn't intended to be malicious. There's a malicious part to this, right? Versus not. That's the person I would less think is racist than the person who's pernicious and doesn't
yeah,
say anything. I thought that was
yeah.
fascinating as well.
Yeah, it's a good observation. I think maybe one of the reasons they've blanketed it is because people's interpretations of malicious are so different.
Oh, the subjectivity
They
of it.
just
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to stamp it out completely and just go, we're not going to
Mm.
tolerate it at all. Because this person, so I might say, for me, it's if someone was to aim that slur at me, I'd be like, you're hilarious. Not in a good way, but you're a joke, mate. You can't
But they would be
actually.
like in your was that Nate soccer?
Yeah.
In that instance, that's a great example of that kid was intentionally being malicious by using that word. It wasn't used in jest or anything like that. It was like
No,
he felt he needed to get this person, so he said it as a slur, as a derogatory slur.
I still don't know the details. I'm still not pushing on the details. What
Okay.
I am encouraging my son to do in his time is the way that I've handled it is to say, if you've taken offense to something and you feel your boundaries being crossed, that is absolutely something that you need to hold on to. But I also think, like, I'm very much about two things can be true, right? You have to also accept that there have been many times, son, where you have said something, like your brain's gone so quick and you've said
Right.
something or you've done something or whatever. And afterwards, you have felt like shit. And you have just been like, God, I hope they forgive me. I hope this person, I didn't mean it like that. I said, don't forget, because nobody gets it right every single time. And if you're going to
Mm.
hold people to that standard, then you hold yourself to that standard, where I think a lot of disappointment and self-loathing happens because it's an impossible standard. I said, don't be so superior in your thinking. I'm not saying we let it go or you can't be hurt or insulted. All of that can be true and we can manage that. And that's the coach, right? So I know that will be managed properly. But I said, I don't want you to be someone who takes that higher ground and forgets that there's been times where you've splurted shit out and you've been like, shit, I didn't
Yeah,
mean
you
that.
said
And
hurtful things out of
give
reactionary state.
another go. Like this,
Mm.
you and this kid have been good mates for 3 years. You've been not only mates, but you've been teammates as well for 3 years. It would be a shame that it can't be repaired because of a slip.
Yeah. And is he really, like I would say, do you think the words he's used is a reflection of who he really is, given he is friends with you as
Absolutely
well?
not. Nah, nah. His parents are great. He actually, this particular kid, so he's the coach, right? But I'm not going to use any names, so I'm happy to say it. But this particular kid, he's been on one for the last few weeks, right? And he's just,
On one,
he's
what do you
six,
mean by that?
he, I think he's just had a little bit of a testosterone spurt, and he is just on the field. He's fucking fire, right?
Oh, he'd be
And
fire
he
easy. Okay.
keeps getting yellow cards, but he's a sick little player, right? And he keeps getting yellow cards, and Matt will be like yelling out from the sidelines, mate,
Take it easy, mate.
stop it, we need you next week. But he's just, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, or maybe in the last month, he's just got a fire in him. And it feels like, I've got 2 boys, so I feel like I can have some say on this. There is between 13 and 16, these bursts of testosterone that boys get. And they do things. And then later on, they reflect and they're like, shit, I didn't mean it like that. It's not like he punched him in the mouth. It was, and the other thing is, this is the other thing, because I'm all about accountability. The other thing I discussed with him, my son, is to say, you also have to take some accountability. You can't be throwing that word around. And when you do use that word, you use that word in a playful, very innocuous manner. There is no malicious intent there whatsoever. Regardless of how some other people might perceive it, when he's throwing that word around, there is no malicious intent there. I said, but what you have to understand is if you're going to, in one context, you're going to throw it around a little bit, and then other people perceive that, and then that is open to interpretation. That is, you are leaving yourself open to say it's, and if you're not someone who reads, if you're a 15, 16-year-old boy, your ability to read those very nuanced cues, that's not your priority. It's not your priority.
The fascinating part for me there is that he thinks he has a license to use the word in general. How did he get that?
Yeah,
It's fascinating. Yeah, I've always got this good bit of like.
You need to take a little bit of accountability as well. You can't be just banter and then decide on one occasion your feelings got hurt. I don't want to discredit his feelings, and I don't want it to be like I'm not paying attention, and help him navigate that in a mature way. To me, it's not even about the trivial nature of this. It's about learning how to be pissed off with a mate and work through it. Don't just be cutting people off, because if you do that, cut dickheads off of, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But not good mates who have made a mistake. Come on. Got to have a little bit more grace than that, I feel.
I'm keen to circle back on our...
Maybe you called me a fuckhead.
Not a fuckhead. I don't reckon that's...
Oh, no. You call me a fuckhead. But it's not like fuckhead. It's not like that. It's like, don't be a fuckhead. Come on, man. You know what I mean? What? Am I going to get pissed off every time you say that? We wouldn't be friends. We would have been finished up 2 decades ago.
Yeah.
But that's where I just want to train. I just want to train my kids to be able to go, where's the, did I love that? No. But can I see past it a little bit?
Has anyone created a skit on how much black do you need to have to use the N-word? This guy has 35% black in him. He is permitted. Yeah, I want to get a circle back to that. So obviously, whatever you think about the wide Australia policy or not, I think my thing is, yeah, but that was denying that we had.
Should we start by, do you think it would be helpful to the listeners for us to define what white policy is? Because it was really good. Like when you sent me those notes, it's what is white policy? Is it a law?
Well, it wasn't actually called that. Like we didn't have the Wide Australia Policy Act.
White Australia policy, okay, is a set of laws and practices. So laws, yes, but practices as well, designed to stop non-European immigration to Australia. It began, keyword began, with the Immigration Restriction Act of 1901 and shaped the nation's population, politics, and identity for more than 70 years. Another key word, 70 years. In that 70 years, there was some evolving that went on with the times, as it did globally. This wasn't isolated to Australia.
Yeah, the world was very much restricted immigration everywhere.
And you were discussing how, because as it goes further, as we read on, and we did a bit of a deep dive into this White Australia policy, we discovered that there were criteria, right? And the criteria was ever evolving and ever changing. And you mentioned that for your parents, there was a British citizenship that sort of fast tracked the immigration, or like became because
Mauritius was still a British colony until 1968 or something like that. Yeah,
right. So there was a priority there. For my family, it was education. So my grandfather. So it was my grandfather, my grandmother, and then my mum and her 3 siblings. So it would have been my grandfather and my grandma that got the tick. He was educated. He was a school principal and he was a social worker as well.
Oh yeah.
And my grandma had trades like beauty and hairdressing, and she was a seamstress and is a seamstress, all of those things. So there were skills and trades that they were bringing. Further, my mother and her siblings had all gone to they all had decent education as well. So because of all that combined, as a family, they would have presented as a family that would add value. I don't think there is anything wrong with that whatsoever.
Which is interesting enough, actually, because my dad is basically the opposite of that. The only thing that got him in was his British passport. He finished high school in year 9, didn't have any value to add in regards to any of his background, spoke English, and had a British passport, but had what I would say, the grit and the want to add value. Like they didn't get handouts back then. It was like, you got to get a fucking job and work. And he's been working since he was like, man, he paid taxes in Australia from the age of 21, 22 years old until he retired when he was almost 70 years old. And like I said last time, worked multiple jobs when I was a kid. Like I said, I hardly saw my dad. He was all about living the Australian dream, but working hard for it. He's so proud of it. He's like, son, I never went on the dole. And I'm like,
yeah.
Like, it was like a thing for him. It was a thing of pride. He didn't want to take away from the system. It was like, I only want to be a net positive to Australia.
And this is in preparation for today. That is something that actually came to mind, is in the spirit of that, I know that my family came here with it wasn't even, if we accept you into the country, this is what we're going to need to see. It was almost like, can we please, what can we do? And to the point where maybe even to a fault where they are committed in ways. And I saw that was what was modeled to me, is you roll your sleeves up, you don't ask for handouts, and you work hard, maybe even to a fault, because they weren't taking breaks. And like I've mentioned before, my mum came here. I think they came here on the Sunday, and by the Tuesday she was working. She was 16, got married, had me, went back to work, and she copped it. She copped proper racism, like outward race. That was racism.
That's fascinating that your mum did. My dad doesn't talk, never talked. He said he only had really a couple run-ins with cops back in the day, and that was the only real time. But like even, I would say, like I did witness racism in my time. I'm not saying Australia hasn't have racist elements of it, and I'm not denying your mum's racist acts as well. But on the, how do I put this? In the majority, if you're looking at it from a majority standpoint, I would say that on the most part, and even as time has progressed, like we knew there was like still racist dickheads back in the day, and it was probably more of a place of ignorance, is what I would say. Is like our parents would have been the first few brownies coming into town as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And back to that thing that we were talking about earlier, that spotting the difference. There was probably hardly any people of colour back then.
Yeah. But
it's fascinating to hear that your mum copped it, actually. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, she did. And yeah, I don't know. But then the other thing is, was it a racism thing or were they just bitches? Because
and that was the angle they took.
I can tell you, some of the school Klux Klan are really out there to, like some of those school mums, man, they are vicious. They are vicious.
School Klux Klan, I never heard that before.
Yeah. School mums that are like the complete opposite of me, and just those you wouldn't know,
mums,
like Annie and I are just the complete we're just not that. We're rocking up in our hoodies and caps and kicks, and we're just there for the kids, man. We're not there for all the appearances. There are a lot of people that are like that, and that's not just women. That's not just women.
Do you have a lot of those mums in your area that wear leggings and a puffer jacket with that look? It's like they wear the sporting wear. They wear sporting wear and
active wear.
Those active wear plus puffer jackets.
What about puffer the vested?
That's a kind of Karen one of those.
That's like a Karen uniform. That is like the Karen uniform.
I'm not talking to this person. I am staying away from this woman.
I have to admit, I sidestep when I see the puffer vest. I'm not here for
I bought a puffer vest once and I was like, I feel uncomfortable in this. It's warm. This is before it was a thing. I was like, I remember when I was like, in my mid-20s, so over 20 years ago. And I didn't like formal wear. And I was like, shirt and pants I do. And this puffer thing will keep me warm. Well,
okay.
So then I can take it off when I get to work. But then it became a thing. Like the whole Timberland puffer vest.
Yeah. Yeah, look, if it's a temperature control thing, sure. But if it's a uniform, if you're deliberately buying the puffer jacket for that look.
Speaking of, like, there's a segue that I just randomly thought of as well, but I do want to come back to immigration. Did you have this phase in high school where everyone was getting country road jumpers?
What was that? Yes.
So that did happen at Helm High too?
Yes.
It was like the replacement top for the official jumper of your high school. They found the coinciding coloured country road jumper.
And like cream. They were either cream or brown.
With the same colour, with the same colour print, the same colour stitching as the colour of the jumper.
Country road.
Because the green one, the green,
like a yuppie kind of. Why were we wearing?
What was the fascination with country road
in Hallam and Dupton? What the?
Yeah, because it was the green one was very similar to the St. John's green jumper. So, and there was like a cartel. There was legit like a cartel of, I don't know, Vietnamese or Filipino dudes who were like flogging them from Dandenong Plaza, Maya, and selling on the black market at St. John's.
In St. John's would have been a cracker school. Was that a good school?
It was. It was.
Yeah.
It was a melting pot, as they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
reckon if there
The
was any
whites
other,
were the minority.
yeah, I reckon if there was any other school I would have ever wanted to go to, it would have been St. John's in the 90s. In the 90s, I don't know what it's
Yeah,
like
well,
now. But
my brother got the pleasure of doing both Hallam High and St. John's.
he did. Hallam High all the way.
Yeah.
Veteran.
Yeah. Were you in the same year as my brother?
Was he a year higher than me?
He finished in 94.
I was 93. Yeah.
Oh, so you were a year older in high school years, right?
Younger. Older. Yeah.
Come on, man.
So when's your brother 50?
Next Feb. I was sent a message the other day, like, just confirm we booked tickets for the weekend it's your 50th, that you confirmed that I was going to be. And he was like, yeah, cool. And he was like, oh, it's funny that we're currently shopping for venues at the moment. I took the day off. And I'm like, hang on, you're talking about your birthday that's in February next year. You're shopping venues like it's a fucking wedding. It's so random. And he's like, I'm tired from walking around checking out all these venues. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. It's what the internet's for. Walking around, oh, this is a beautiful venue for my 50th. What do you think?
We love you, Dave.
Yeah, it was classic as.
I love that.
Getting back to immigration now, what's your thoughts? Do you think as a country, like I was saying, like all these other countries, Japan, or whatever countries, they've all got their own immigration policies. Australia currently has what it looks like hardly any of your policies. I think at the last record, it was like 500,000 people who were let in the last 12 months. I'm like, that's a lot of people, man. We're going to keep up with our
and we're
housing.
supposed to be racist.
All these black and brown people want to come to this racist country called Australia. But like, I'm a big believer that like having controlled migration versus having unlimited is a very different proposition. And I hate that anyone who challenges that we should have selective migration at a cap is considered to be a racist. It's such a bizarre concept. Like, why shouldn't we be selective of the people we want allowed into our country? Shouldn't we be choosy about the cultures and the type of people that we're letting into our country, that they're aligned to our values? And I hate even when you start talking about Australian culture and when morons are straight up like, oh, without these cultures, we wouldn't have nice food. That's our culture. And you're like, if that's all is culture to you, like surface level shit like food and coffee, Jesus Christ.
In the age of the internet, you can just Google a recipe.
No, I'm just saying like that, but that's not what culture is. Australian culture is a certain thing, and you can talk about it. Like, I think
standard.
I think there's the whole thing around mateship, the she'll be right attitude, helping your community. Like, I even heard this great stat the other day, how Australia has one of the highest, what's the word? I'm losing my words tonight. Volunteering per capita. Like, I think the New South Wales Fire is like the highest volunteer organization in the world. Something like that. Please double check my stats there. But you got RSLs, surf clubs, all these things. Yeah. Even like all the sporting clubs. These are all just volunteers. Like, I'm just that guy who's like, oh God, you take up all these weeknights of your Matt, like being the soccer coach.
Yeah.
Weeknights and your weekends. I'm like, whew.
Lots of people
amazing human being. That's not something I could do.
Yeah. It's amazing. And these are the things that when Australia gets a bad rap, these are the things that my mind goes to. I'm like, but when you think about, I feel like we're really good at looking out for each other. And I think that the isolation,
taking the piss as well. I feel like it's gone. I feel like COVID was this weird tipping point We're basically questioning authority and taking the piss and all this kind of ultra woke stuff started getting on steroids in Australia during that period. I don't know what it was. I don't know why that happened, but
Could you imagine our friendship? Like, just take our friendship, for example. If there was no taking the piss, I don't know, we'd be
that's all we
mates.
do.
What?
I had this great. I had this, I had this great. My great saying is, the more shit I give you, the more
Yeah.
I love you.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how you will know that I like you.
Yeah, the closer you are, the safer you feel with that person. Because you're like, this person knows that I can go.
So this guy at work at the moment, I feel like I'm getting a bit of a closeness relationship to him. We're on a level, and I think in a meeting the other day, I was something like, we were talking about like the seatbelts, and he's like, oh, you know, when you're in an airplane and they're like, say, fasten your seatbelts on, and he's like, oh, I still leave mine a little bit loose, and I'm like, oh, you can, because your head's not going to touch the top of the, because you're short. He's like, what are you trying to say about that? And he's like, you know what I'm saying. It's an example of like, that's
like my birthday message. Hello, is this Sally from the Senior Citizens Birth Committee?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand my brain, but it's just
As soon as I read it, I was like, yeah, that checks out.
Happy birthday. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? At least I remembered.
I loved it. I loved it because I know exactly what that means.
What did I get on my birthday again this year? I don't. My Gmail account can't log in. I don't understand what's going on. It's my best friend asking me for the Gmail account on my birthday. Couldn't log
It's
in.
like besties are the most shit at birthday. Like they're the worst.
That's why I legit like. I hate to bring it up on this video, but like that's why I wasn't gonna make that little video thing for you. I just like I'm your mate. I don't need to do that. Like I'm not gonna have the proof.
Literally speak every day.
Yes. If it's not a text message, it's a stupid reel of some kind. Sometimes our friendship is just sharing reels for. I'm like, I'm not going to watch that one. I'll watch these two though.
Gifts. Every day. Every single day. I don't know if I text Matt as much as I text you.
You know, think I get offended with Annie, where I'm like, I see all those fucking Instagrams. How come you haven't watched them yet? They're funny. Watch it. Oh yeah, but you watch your mates.
Oh, she's only got 2 kids to look up
and a husband.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I have absolutely no problem with being picky with who you want to, and then there'll always be that try and gotcha. It's like, who would you pick then? Oh, based on what? And I'm like, pretty basic stuff. Will they blend into our culture? Will they assimilate? Will they want to be Australian?
Are they safe people?
What's wrong with asking these questions? What value will they add?
I don't believe that's race-centric. I think that should be everybody.
I want good people.
That should be the criteria. What is the value add? What is the value?
Country. Why wouldn't we want to keep and maintain that?
Like, what is the contribution? I think any country has the right to ask that question. There's that, and then what's your criminal record like in your country?
I still couldn't get over it. One thing happened during this week. I was just blown away. There's this big boxing fight coming up over the weekend, and it's a stacked card, but one of the boxers got denied his visa in Australia because he has an assault record in America. It happened. He's done his time, whatever. And he was denied his visa. He's a boxer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got like these ISIS brides. Come back in. No worries. No worries. Just come back in. But some guy
So
who's a draw
how
card
do you, how
boxer
do you reconcile
who's
that?
going to come to Australia to have a fight, then fuck off back to America, got
Yeah.
denied. It doesn't make any sense. It's so dumb.
And I think that's what the frustration is, the inconsistency, and the inconsistency in favor of
Even when, do you remember Candace Owens got banned from coming to Australia?
what?
Did you know that? She
No.
was doing a speaking tour. Oh, her inflammatory views. And you're like, what? Because she has
Come
opposite
on.
views to you. It's so bizarre, like that we're banning people in coming to a country because they have polarizing views. I don't agree with a lot of what Candace Owens says. Some of her stuff on my sounds fascinating, but I want to listen to people like that because they are so different views to the mainstream. That's what I find fascinating.
100%.
Why would I want to listen to it? Like you, that's blasphemy to even talk about that kind of stuff. So weird.
I would like to know what they're referring
Extreme
to.
right wing.
So, since when was that a crime?
I don't think it's a crime. We have
Why
these
is
crazy
it?
far left people crazy talking about crazy. Let them in. Let those other people. Let everyone. It's just words. Let them speak. Why aren't we letting people speak? That makes no sense. Just disagree with it. I don't even get why people protest outside the front of someone speaking. It's so weird.
Yeah. This is what I'm
It's
saying. I
moronic,
don't,
actually. I don't
there,
care.
there
I
are
think it's
things.
moronic.
There are things that I care so deeply and passionately about. Honestly, I don't have a sign. I'm not outside a building. I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
What?
And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of these situations is just people have too much time on their hands.
What are you going to change? That's what I always ask: is what is it that you're doing? Is that going to make change? Rather
And
being an annoying prick to
is
the
an
rest
aggressive,
of.
combative approach?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that the
sort of
thing that's
peace.
going to change? Or can we discuss, can we flesh out ideas and sort of come to some sort of understanding? Or not. Even if there isn't an understanding, it doesn't matter. But there's a way to discuss matters.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything that Candace Owens has done that's criminal.
No, she has
She's
some
just a
crazy
very,
idea.
very brave woman who's not going to be silenced because someone doesn't want her to have a perspective or a view.
I'm going to say she's got some crazy ideas, but wow. I,
Someone's got
what?
crazy ideas.
No, I got. Oh yeah.
She seems pretty smart to me.
I'm not saying that most of them. I'm just saying there's some out there things that she believes. That's like we don't need to go into it today, but it might be something to talk about actually.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe in the future. I'd love to do
I
a bit of
quite
a
like
deep dive
her.
on her.
I quite like
Oh,
her.
I was fascinated by it when I first ages ago. She had
Yeah.
this, I think her original content was something called Red Pill Black, and she was making really interesting observations of how she used to consider herself a hardcore lefty, and then had this awakening in regards to how black people thought about themselves. And this is her initial part was like, I think it was golden, really demonstrating how going the condescension of the white woke liberal not allowing to have a black person to have an opinion about black matters that's opposite to that of the mainstream thinking. And I found that fascinating. Like
Fascinating.
one of my favorite intellectuals, and he's probably my favorite writer of all time, is a man called Thomas Sowell. He's an economist, and probably, in my opinion, probably should have been the first black president, but he's just not the topic he goes into. But he's a great writer, and he writes such amazing things that have opened my eyes up to rational thinking. That's what I like about
Yes.
it. It's just
Yes.
people, there's cognitive dissonance where it's like it's a known belief, you hear something different, and you'll just fight tooth and nail not to believe it. Even that Rosa Parks video I sent you today, which was like, did I send that to you
I
today?
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, there's this whole idea that the whole Rosa Parks thing was like a setup thing. I thought it was fascinating. It was like because she had a car, they already had their own buses. It was like this whole thing to inflame the situation. Anyway, I don't know the details of it, but that was the premise of the video. It was like the whole Rosa Parks thing, who is put up on a pedestal about being this game changer. And it was interesting that they're talking about how they were very selective in the choice of using a mixed race lady. Rosa Parks wasn't black. She was like a mixed race person as well. It's a very deep conversation. But anyway, but this whole idea of, and there was even this video the other day. It was great. There's this guy called Brandon Tatum, also a big fan of the things that he talks about. And he was on this panel of things on the show. And this guy was trying to have a go at him about Charlie Kirk, another divisive figure, which I don't understand why he's even divisive, to be honest with you. I think he was I think Charlie Kirk was an absolute... Oh, yeah. People consider him to be a racist. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's just bizarre. He's just a conservative, good Christian man who is trying to talk about how can we all live together and have discussions that we disagree on things, and let's talk it out.
That dude is not racist.
This guy was talking about how he's trying to have a gotcha with Brandon Tatum, where he's like, oh, and your friend Charlie Kirk, who said black people were better under slavery. And they're like, what are you talking about? He never said that. And live on the show, they fact checked him, and they're like, no, he didn't say that. What he was talking about was the black family and community was way better off during Jim Crow. So still during segregation. So like as a family unit, as black wealth, as black industry, all these things that were happening during the Jim Crow times, which is still during segregation, black, white, whatever. They had their own bus companies. There was millionaire black. There was a Black Wall Street. There was all these things that were happening, and
that we knew nothing about.
Fatherless homes wasn't a thing. Like conservatism, like the traditional values, was very much a thing, and then that got dismantled. And what he's saying is that in those times, even though there was segregation, a terrible time in our times, the actual black community was thriving. And that was the point that he was making. Not that segregation was good. Like, they're two separate things. Segregation was happening. Yes, bad. Black people were thriving in that time.
So
those two things are both true.
What they've done, they've twisted it to try and make out that Charlie Kirk said black people did well under
segregation. So segregation is good.
Because what they're trying to say is that he said that black people did well because of segregation.
Correct.
Shut up.
I know.
Shut up.
This is their
That's
manipulative ways. That's
Come
just
on.
basically straw manning. It's not they're turning two things into the same thing. Anyway, there was a great...
in their lines that would actually...
Yeah. I think I'm one of those people who's like, in the absence of any black culture in Australia, which is something true to say, was it a bad or a good thing? I don't know. But in the 90s, man, my life revolved around American black culture. Hip hop, R&B, all the movies, all the soundtracks.
Definitely.
I was like a G. Like, I may as well have thought I was black American during that time, right? Like that, for people who lived in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, it was very much an Americanized Michael Jordan, all those things, NDA, it all revolved around American black culture. We still had our own Australian culture, but that was part of our identity. People don't get that. It was a very poignant time in my life. Like, I'll be one of those guys, I could have a head-to-head conversation with most people right now and talk about 90s R&B with the best of them. I think my knowledge in that space about what the quality was, who the artists were, who the producers were, as good as anyone else. Even most of the movies and stuff like that. That to me was like its golden era. And like I think we talked about it the other day. Like the 90s was magical. Like I don't know if I'm being romantic about it, but like it was.
It was.
I always think that the race thing had disappeared as well. It was like Michael Jordan was a god. Michael Jackson was a god. Oprah Winfrey was a queen. All black people, no one thought of them as, oh, there's a black person. It was just a fascinating time. And then something happened.
It felt equalized, right? That was our Australian experience of the American culture.
Mm.
So I'm sure Ice Cube would have a very different take on that. Because
Oh,
that's not what he's rapping about. But
well, I don't want to shit on Ice Cube, but Ice Cube was a, how to put it, Easy E was the homie, the legit G, and the others were pretty much rich kids. Yes, they lived in a similar area, but like Easy was like a full-on gang. They had to teach him how to rap. That's the funny part.
yeah, I'm
Um,
still a mess.
where we going? Where we going with this? I can't remember. Differing opinions, immigration opinions,
Candace
allowing people
Sullivan,
into the country.
Charlie Kirk went on that. So we were talking. Oh, okay. So you were telling me about that Rosa Parks reel that I can't wait to have a look at. That
I
there
swear I sent
is
it to you. Maybe I didn't.
suggestion that it was a setup.
Well, there's that whole thing. The other thing that I was talking to Annie today, it's a fascinating one, is around when the Orange Man became president for the second time, and that was that whole, what they call it, Doge or something, Department of Government Expenditure or whatever it was. Elon Musk was running it, and they were finding out all this fraud and payments that were all happening. Do you know about that? It's a fascinating time. So when Trumpy came into his second term in America, Elon Musk worked with Trump to basically
Yeah.
start this thing called the Department of Government Expenditure, Doge. And they just went into all the books that said where all this money was going. America's spending billions of dollars on, and this thing called USAID or USAID. And they were just finding out the most ridiculous things that they were spending money on, like transgenderism in Azerbaijan, or something like that. $50 million for this. Anyway, there was all this random stuff. But there was this fascinating thing that someone had pinpointed, and it's an interesting one around music. And we've all had some sort of inclination that there are some puppetry happening in the background about who's getting elevated to the front and stuff like that.
Of course.
But ever since this funding for USAID or USAID or whatever, I don't know what it's called, USAID, USA, whatever, that hip hop and rap music for the first time in a very long time has not featured in the charts, even not one song in the top 50 for the last 12 months. So they think there's been like this whole funding of propping up black
Yes.
artistry through the CIA or some shit like that. I don't know it's a big rabbit hole, but it seems coincidental is all I would say.
And what would be
Benefit?
the reasoning behind that?
There's no funding for it anymore because it's been taken out.
Why?
Because they discovered that funding was there and it's been cut off. Yeah, this is all that part of that fraudulent government money going
But what I'm saying is I'm wondering why it was funded.
Oh, there's a deep hole there to talk about
We need to.
gangstification, the gangstification of Black America. And I, as much as I love the music, I think it's had a horrendous actually effect on Black culture in general, like the gangster and hoe culture. It's fucking gross when you think about it, actually.
It didn't originate there, though.
Out of hip hop and
yeah, it didn't start like that. Like in early 80s, no, it's not where it started.
but like the
MC, Public Enemy, and
Oh,
they
no.
were never talking. They were never talking
no,
about that.
no, Grandmaster Flash, all that stuff. No,
Yeah,
but like
no,
it was the
that was-
NWA generation to the Snoop Dogg and that generation, the West Side.
and
was very-
then the early 2000s where it got filth. That's
Yeah.
where it was really disgusting. But its origins are freaking incredible.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because like conscious rap for me is like the epitome. But I love
I
gangster.
agree.
Well, no freaking lie. It's fucking great.
So in Snoop Dogg's question about like, do you regret your early lyrics? I remember seeing that video. He's like, hell no.
And you us. Because I don't know, like when you're listening to Doggy Style, you're sitting there going, I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to go down the block and I'm going to do all of this to the next chick. I say, no. I think if you were that way, if you were going to do that, you were
That's sad.
you were that way inclined anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think
it gave you permission to be that dickhead that you already were.
myself and everyone I knew was listening to that album, and I could tell you, no one was treating anyone like that. The way that we heard it was like watching a movie. If we watched friggin' Rocky, we're not going to go around punching everyone in the face.
Oh, but we did. My favorite, my memories are like of watching a Bruce Lee movie, and then me and my brother be like, ah,
In the backyard. Yeah.
we imitated everything, like legit. Like I have such great vivid memories of hanging out with my brother when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like mowing cricket pitches in the backyard, getting a nice flat surface, and then he would be this player, I would be this player, and we'd be playing like like it's what you do as a kid. You just
hours. Yeah. No, we might have imitated, but there was always, I don't feel like my circle of friends, I don't feel like there was ever anything beyond imitation. We were very conscious that it was playful. No one went, oh, let's take it this one step further and start shooting up the neighborhood. That didn't happen.
No.
That was just my experience, and that was just my neighborhood.
In the hood.
Yeah. And it was a hood.
Was your school more white or brown, Helen?
Started off very white. So I went to Hallam Primary and Hallam High, both. Hallam Primary was just white. There was me and probably one other Filipino girl. That was it. And then
my schooling years were always very brown.
Yeah.
Davo was probably a little bit more ethnic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then in high school, it started really
snobs in hell.
Nah.
Remember those rich people in Endeavour Hills?
Endeavour Hills was the dream.
Those cascading roads with double-story houses.
So you just believe this shit when you're a kid. You just believe it. You're just like, oh yeah, that's the good part of town.
Oh, Johnny, he's from Endeavour Hills.
Oh, Chocolate Lodge.
His dad's got a Commodore SS. Oh, yeah.
Listen, my uncle and my cousins lived in Endeavour Hills, and they had a VL, all right? So...
They had a Commodore. Was it a Calais?
Yeah.
It was a Calais.
It was a Calais. It was a Calais. Yeah, I know.
Calais are the most weirdest. I had a Calais myself. Did I know you went out a Calais?
Yeah, you did.
But it had that. It had pop-up lights, but they were fake. It was just like an eyelid. It was so stupid. Then I think about it, it was like the eyelid. It wasn't a light lifting up. It was just a little flap on top of the light. I'm opening up a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. Lame. On that note, I gotta go.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Did we didn't really. You know what? This can be an ongoing conversation.
Oh yeah.
There could be a part 2.
Yeah. I'd love to talk more about what actually is Australian culture. Get deeper. Like not this surface level. Oh, meat pies and she'll be right. But
yeah.
Like I think there's something deep there. And how it's changed. And I think there was a legit thing about this inflection point. And have you heard of the term the Overton window? So like the Overton window is a thing which talks about accepted norms and how things shifted during that. The Overton window opens or closes during that. And I always thought Australia was very much an anti-authoritarian style, don't tell me what to do. COVID changed that very quickly, scarily.
Didn't it? Yes, everyone showed their true colours.
True cowardice, I like to call it.
Yeah, I participated in that to some degree, I must say.
Cowardice.
Never got the chance. Yeah, like I
What do you
stayed
mean?
in my house.
But you
I
didn't tell other
like
people
I,
to stay in their house.
huh?
But you didn't tell other people to
Pardon?
stay in their house. But you didn't tell other people to stay in their house, did you?
No,
Yeah, just mean
no.
the difference is like there's like yeah, you choose to do what you want to do. I got no problem with that. It was the people who were like, you need to stay in the house as well.
Oh,
You,
right. Okay. I see the difference.
mm,
I see the difference. Yeah.
mm.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
if you were scared, it's fine. Like that's actually not cowardice. That's actually truth. I think people had every
Yeah.
right to be afraid, given the amount of propagandizing that was happening. No
Yeah.
doubt.
And it was just so unprecedented and no one knew what was going on. It was like, I want to keep my family safe. That was my
Yeah.
highest priority until things started to evolve and you're like, what's going on here?
I'm scared of the flu. What are you talking about? Yeah, I really did. The point that I hated is when it got to the point of any questioning of the authority became automatically, you want to kill grandma. I'm like, what? How did that? No? It didn't make any sense to me. It's like that whole, you need to listen to the authorities because they know what's best. The authorities would have had me way better, and it's probably a deeper conversation, if the premise was less about you do what we tell you because we know what's right. Oh, oh, you disappeared for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know. It's still recording, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah.
It
Thank
still
you,
says
Ronnie.
an hour and 44. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
What I'm
minute.
saying is like, when they were saying, this is what you'll do because this is what we know, I would have been, if they had taken the approach of, look, we don't know what's going on, but right now we think this is the best advice and the best
Until
action
we
moving
know
forward.
more,
Yeah.
just
But it was
stay
like,
tight with yeah. Yeah. It was
and I'm like, what?
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit stressed. And then my little girl, she was only 5 or 6 then. She was the first
Mm,
one to get it and she got it really bad. I was terrified.
mm,
I didn't know what was in her body. She recovered really quick. But while she was like had those huge fevers and she was completely lethargic and it
fine
was
in
this
the end. Mm,
I was shitting myself.
mm.
Absolutely was.
Because it was overblown to the effects. Like at the end of the day, like it was. I'm not denying this was pretty much a death sentence to anyone who was old and ill.
Yeah, yeah. But so was the
That's what
flu.
the. But this is what the flu does every year, right? Knocks out
Yeah,
fucking thousands of old people. I'm not saying that's a good
yeah.
thing. I'm just saying that's
No.
kind of what it was. Like if you actually look back at the records of how many people would get killed by the regular flu it's pretty substantial.
And what I find frightening is the fact that so when I got sick, as you can, my voice is still not 100%.
Yeah.
I got sick, what, 6 weeks ago, quite some time ago, and I still am not 100%. And the fact that, so I did a rat test and it turns out I had rhinovirus. If you look up rhinovirus on Google, it's the common cold. And I said to my GP, I was like, this doesn't feel common. This is like,
Mm,
feels like a flu. And him and Matt had said as well that because those viruses just keep mutating and they're
mm.
turning into something else and something else. And because as a community, it's almost like we lost some immunity from all the mask wearing and
Yeah.
stuff for too long. Now that we're getting those new viruses,
Catching up on the germs.
yeah,
I never got COVID.
ever.
No.
That's really fascinating. I
Mm.
heard on the radio once, I mean, I don't know. I'd need to get the backing and the science on it, but if there's a certain gene that is more susceptible to COVID than
Was it
another gene.
was it was it Billie Jean?
It was jelly
She's done my
beans.
lover. Billie Jean. I've been singing that all day for some weird reason. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll go into that deeper in our next chat because I think
Sounds good. What is Australian culture? That is a conversation.
yeah, it's not souvlaki's, meat pies, and coffee for all the morons out there.
$8 coffee.
We're a lot, yeah. For all those people buying those coffees, CPs, get an espresso or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, mate.
Yeah.
Good to chat.
All right, mate.
Happy
See
birthday.
ya. Thank
Bye.
you, dude. Bye.
I don't stop though.
just-
Please don't stop the music. What do we got here? Oh, 99%, nearly there, Salstar.
Well,